Welcome back to Castrology, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin, and on this channel I do monthly horoscope videos for all 12 zodiac signs, along with tarot predictions for your sign. Today I'm going to be doing your January 2021 horoscope, so be sure to watch for your rising, sun and moon sign. I'm going to leave a timestamp in the comment box and the description of the video, so feel free to skip this intro if you just want to head straight to your horoscope. As for the rest of you, January is absolutely hectic. We have squares from Mars, Uranus, Saturn and Jupiter going every which way. This is going to heavily activate two of your houses in particular, and of course it will change for each sign. And we also have Mercury going into retrograde at the end of the month. As per usual with Mercury retrogrades, we always have a 2-week pre-shadow period. So for the first couple of weeks in January, you'll have a bit of a breather, you could say, but this is really the calm before the storm, because come 13th of January, everything is going to go haywire, and there's going to be so much change and such a upswing or uptake in energy. And every sign of course is going to feel it differently, but the ones who will be affected the most will be Taurus, Aquarius, Leo and Scorpio. Without further ado, let's dive straight in. Hi Taurus, Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your January 2021 horoscope. This month is going to be so hectic. I hope you guys are bracing yourselves for what's to come, because our sign is going to see the biggest changes out of all the other signs in the zodiac, except for Aquarius. So on the 7th of January, Mars will enter Taurus. So this will be in your first house, all right? And Mars has been in Aries in your 12th house for about 6 months. And when we have Mars in the 12th, we can experience a dip in energy, a loss of vitality, and just a lack of willpower overall. So if you've been feeling that way for the last 6 months of 2020, good news. From the first week in of January, you are going to feel energized, revitalized. You will have more concentration. You will have more willpower. And Taurines have been undergoing so much work in their subconscious self, because Mars rules the 12th house in Aries, but Mars also rules Scorpio. And in your sign, in your horoscope Taurus, that's the 6th house. So physical changes and I suppose subconscious or otherwise mental changes have really been the theme of the last half of 2020. But now it's time to unveil the new you. On the 8th of January, Mercury will enter Aquarius, and this will be in your 10th house, which is your career house. Now, it doesn't matter where you have your midheaven in your personal horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign transits. So Mercury will be in Aquarius in the 10th house, and that means you'll be thinking a lot about your career, and there might be a lot of communication back and forth with you and your boss. Now, on the 9th of January, Venus will enter the sign of Capricorn, and this will be in your 9th house. And the 9th house rules travel, higher education, studies, spirituality, religion, philosophy, and your belief systems as a whole. It also represents your father, and with Venus here, you can enjoy a pleasant time with your father if you go on outings together, or you go to some kind of event. You might be enjoying your spiritual studies or practices, or your religious practices at this time, or you could simply be consuming a lot of literature about philosophical topics and anything which is going to expand your understanding of other cultures and your worldviews as a whole. Now, on the 13th of January, there will be a new moon in Capricorn in your 9th house at 23 degrees, and it will be in a very tight conjunction with Pluto at 24 degrees. New moons always bring about new beginnings in some way, shape or form, and this one will actually be karmic in nature, and that's because Pluto is a planet which represents karma, and the ninth house is all about wisdom and learning, and it's actually a fortunate house. It's called one of the Dharma houses. So having this new beginning here can see good fortune come to you, which is actually karmic in nature. Now, this new beginning can play out in a number of different ways. On one level, you could be embarking on a new course, degree, or study, all right? So higher education at a college or a university. Now, it could be that you commence a new import or export venture. And for some of you, you could actually be meeting a teacher, professor, spiritual guru, religious leader, or a father figure of sorts. And this figure will have a most transformative impact on your world views and how you relate to the world as a whole. Some of you may even be converting religions. If you were an atheist, you may become spiritual or religious. If you were religious, you might end up becoming an atheist. It could work around any of those different ways. Who knows how it's going to play out? But however it does play out, this will be a karmic change once again. Now, for others of you, you could actually be relocating abroad to another country. And this will be a karmic decision that you make if it occurs for you. Not all of these new beginnings are going to take place for you, Taurus. It might just be one or a couple, but of course you'd have to look at your natal chart or birth chart to see how these new beginnings will play out. Now, some of you will actually establish a new connection with a foreigner, and this will be karmic in nature. Okay, so this person will enter your life for a very karmic and specific reason. Now, on the 13th of January, we will also see Mars in Taurus in your first house, squaring Saturn in Aquarius in your 10th house. Mars is how we take action. Saturn is a planet which represents government bodies, but it also represents career and hard work and also tough lessons. So with this square occurring, we will see a lot of Taurus sun, moon and risings, especially risings and suns like myself, taking action towards their career, which is intended to have very long-lasting effects. And some of you can be very proactive when it comes to your career. It wouldn't surprise me if the next 3 months you're just thinking about work and how you can get up to the next level, the next rung on the ladder. And some of you will be taking efforts to become your own boss, and you won't want to have someone micromanaging you or overseeing what you're doing on the daily. And actually we can see bosses and people in positions of authority above you being very threatened by all of this action that you were taking. And that's because Saturn rules authority figures and it rules bosses, and in the 10th house, that's doubling down on all of that. And you are being seen for the next 3 months as being extremely proactive and very energized to do a job well done. So at work, if you have your eye on the person above you's job, whether that's a supervisor, a manager, or even a really high level executive of some sort, they are aware of it. So I just want to let you guys know just to play a really clean game, because anything that you do, any misstep or any action which can be perceived as untoward can and probably will be used against you. Now, on another level, this can play out as you having a huge push of effort and energy that you need to expend to get to the next level, to become your own boss, to get in front of the public eye and to be received well by the public eye. So certainly the first quarter of this year, you guys will be working like crazy, myself included. Now, on the 14th of January, we will see Uranus being direct in the sign of Taurus, and we're backing this up on the 18th of January with Jupiter in your 10th house in the sign of Aquarius, squaring Uranus in your first house. So this can play out as unexpected career developments, okay, as denoted by the 10th house influence of Jupiter, and also we have Saturn there, as I've mentioned. And this can cause a dramatic change or impact on your life's path, because your ascendant sign, Taurus, or your first house, even if you are a Taurus sun or moon, this still pertains to you, but more so to risings and suns. Your life path is represented by the first house, and Jupiter can bestow wisdom, guidance, wealth, good fortune, and abundance. So you can have some kind of unexpected career development in the 10th house, which impacts the first house, which is you. Now, the timing of this event can be touch and go, and the reason for that is that Uranus is a planet which represents swift change, sudden upheaval, and it's very unpredictable in nature. So it may be that you are waiting for a certain change to come in with work, and all of a sudden, and you're planning for it because of course you're a Taurus, you're planning for this change to take place at a certain time of year, at a certain date or month or whatever it is. But Uranus being in your first house, that does not let you decide when these blessings from Jupiter come into your life. So my advice to you, Taurus, would be to remain as flexible as your fixed sign will allow, and to just roll with the punches. You don't need to take huge steps and strides towards change, because Uranus will bring it to you. Just remain flexible and bendy and adaptable if it's possible, and what you have been working towards will manifest. And as I said, it will manifest in a manner which is unexpected. So if your career developments come in quicker than you expected, you need to be ready to pivot. And with Uranus being in your first house, this actually lends a helping hand in your ability to adapt to these sudden changes. Now, on a different level, the physical demands of your job, as denoted by the 10th house, can have an unexpected physical result on your overall appearance. This can manifest in many different ways. For some of you, you might be working a lot and not really watching, what you're eating or when you're eating, right? So Taurus rules food, and the first house is you. So you can have an unexpected change in appearance, which can play out as weight loss. It can play out as weight gain. You could be working from home and snacking all day. Some of you might be really exhausted from all of this work that you are doing and have been doing over however long of a time period, and this has resulted in you appearing fatigued or drained of energy. And for some of you, and this is actually more likely with Mars being in the first house, you will come across as being more energized, having more vitality, and you might just have like a healthy glow or some kind of, sparkle about your appearance. And of course, as Taurians, you already look pretty good. So having this change to your appearance is something that most of you will probably welcome into your life. Now, on the 20th of January, Aquarius season will commence with the sun entering Aquarius, and this is once again in your 10th house. So you can really shine in your career at this time, and you will certainly be noticeable if you work in the public eye. On the 21st of January, Mars will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus at 6 degrees, okay? So in your first house, we can see radical changes to your appearance actually, because the first house is you. It's how your physical body presents. Once again, Uranus is anything that's unexpected. And here we can see you taking efforts to change your appearance in a very dramatic way. On a different level, if it's not with the material and the tangible and how you're appearing physically, we can see a lot of Taurians make absolutely life-changing, life-altering decisions. And this is especially the case for anyone who has Taurus at 6 degrees as their sun, moon, or ascendant sign. Now, if it's your sun sign, this can be pertaining to career. If it's your moon that's at 6 degrees, I'm going to give it a 3 to 4 degree orb, meaning if you have Taurus, sun, moon, or rising anywhere between 2 degrees and 10 degrees. Now, if you're Taurus sun, this will be early born Taurians. So, around the 23rd of April till end of April or the first day or two of May. Taurus suns, career. Taurus moons, relationships and family and living circumstances. Taurus ascendant, it can be bloody anything, all right? You tell me what it is, okay? Now, a lot of you have been basically having a lot of things working underneath the surface, with Mars being in your 12th house, which is the subconscious, and the 6th house being health, which I mentioned earlier in this video. But these changes are now manifesting. So what has been going on the inside, what you've been putting into your body, all the meditation you've done, all the work you've done, the cleansing, the purging, the reflection, the introspection, all of this has actually been brewing for a long time, okay? It's been percolating in there or marinating in there, and this huge change, which seems drastic and sudden to everyone else, is actually something which has been a long time coming for you. Some of you Taurians who are very in touch with your intuition have been bracing yourself for this change, and you're consciously aware of the work that you've been doing. If that's not the case for you and you feel like life has been happening to you, or you've been getting sick, or you've been struggling on an emotional level, then this change might take you and others by surprise. Now, I just want to mention something that I want you to be wary of. The first house represents your whole physical body. In particular, it does rule the head in the zodiac, whereas the second house rules the face and the teeth. Mars can be accidents, and Uranus can also represent accidents. And when we have these two planets conjunct, especially if you're any of those degrees, okay, so 2 degrees through to 10 degrees, and if you are 6 degrees, knock on wood, like I just want you to be very cautious when it comes to doing any kind of risk-taking activity. And that could be, skydiving or hang gliding or whatever, I don't know. Just be careful when it comes to risk-taking activities, and also avoid going under the knife at this time, and especially on this date, on the 21st of January. If you can avoid it, please do not have an operation. Do not go under the knife, especially if it's for cosmetic purposes. Some of you, unfortunately, may suffer some kind of accident which will require you to have stitches or go under the knife, and that's that conjunction already playing out. But if you are having elective surgery and you have a choice, please avoid that date if it is possible. Now, on another level, Be careful with electricity because Uranus rules electricity, and again, this combination of planets can result in accidents and mistakes occurring. So, don't muck around with any electrical sockets if you can. If you're doing things in the garage and just working with motors or whatever it is, just be really careful. Just don't do it. If you can avoid it, don't. Now, on the 23rd of January, we have Mars in your first house squaring Jupiter in your 10th house. So with this square, we can see you being very optimistic about your career. Yes, you may feel really challenged by your career during this time, but there's still this inner sense of being optimistic about where your career can lead you and the current trajectory that you are on. You've got a plan in place. Even if you're not in the chosen career that you want to be in at the moment, I can tell that many Taurians have an action plan of how to get from A to B, and it's just about taking those incremental steps, as we saw with Mars square Saturn and now with Mars square Jupiter in Aquarius. You've got a huge boost of energy because Jupiter expands anything that it touches. All right, so here we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, making a connection with Mars in the first house, which is your conscious will and how you take action and your energy levels as a whole. So if you have some huge effort that you need to put in for your career, Jupiter will lend a helping hand to you at this time. And in any case, you can be working on your public image, your public profile. On the 29th of January, we have a full moon in Leo at 8 degrees, which is in your 4th house, and it is opposite, it's actually opposite Jupiter at 9 degrees and Saturn at 4 degrees. So this is a pretty tight conjunction, especially with Jupiter being 1 degree off. So with the full moon in the 4th and with the full moon in the 4th house and Saturn and Jupiter in the 10th house, this can play out as you fulfilling a contract which has an end date regarding your living circumstances. So if you have a lease, this can come to a close and you can fulfill your obligation. And what I mean by this is you won't get an extension on it, because full moons are about coming full circle, reaching completion and fruition. So once the contract is fulfilled, we put it aside and we move on. So it can be a lease, it can be a residence that you are temporarily staying in, which was always meant to be a temporary solution. And for some of you, you may finish work commitments which caused you to relocate. So having Jupiter and Saturn in your 10th house, we can see these responsibilities draw to a close, and now you will be free to relocate either elsewhere or back to wherever you were originally from. Now, on a different level, family court proceedings can reach a resolution. I'm not talking about the outcome, whether it's what you wanted or what not what you wanted, but the 4th house represents family. Saturn and Jupiter are two planets which both represent the law. The 10th house rules the law, and the 10th house is the 7th from the 4th. So we see pretty much court proceedings being represented from every which way. Now, on a different level, if you have a custody battle with an ex, this can also draw to a close, because the 4th house rules infants and parenting. Now, on a completely different level and on more of an emotional level, you can receive or encounter some kind of emotional blockage being released or closure regarding your childhood, and it'll be something to do with either one or both of your parents, or perhaps even a grandparent or an elderly ancestor in your life. On a different level, it might just be that you've come to peace with certain things that happened in your childhood. Lastly, on the 31st of January, Mercury will be retrograde in Aquarius. And of course, we see the pre-shadow period begin at around mid-January. And I will cover what this will entail for you in my February 2021 horoscope. So if you enjoyed this video, Taurus, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from me, please subscribe to my K-Astrology channel. I will leave a link in the description if you'd like to check out your January 2021 tarot predictions for your zodiac sign. Otherwise, Taurus, that's all I have for you today. Enjoy January, and I will see you next month.